Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Well, hi. Welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Hi there.
So glad to have you here. Well, we are doing this little Uncensored podcast live on the Miguel and Holly Facebook page and YouTube channel. Also on the Hits 96.1 Facebook page. Make sure to follow us on our other podcasts if you listen. Miguel and Holly Full Show podcast, Blown Off, Queen City Confessions. We do it all. And more importantly, leave us a review.
Yeah.
And a rating that really helps. And tell a friend. If you're listening, just take a little screenshot of wherever you're listening. Tag Miguel and Holly on your Instagram story and say, hey, listen to this, especially as vacation is coming up and people are about to go travel. That'd be greatly appreciated.
You, and we'll keep you entertained. I mean, we'll do our best. I mean,
we're going to try.
Promise.
We'll make you laugh at least once.
Yeah.
At least once.
Hopefully.
At least once. Bring you some sort of joy.
Except like every 3 weeks, I like to bring something real heavy and hard hitting to the podcast. That's makes you just really upset. And so I just like to, well, I mean, listen, the news is upsetting. Like everything we're going through right now.
It's true.
It's like I have in the studio I'm in this big Twitter wall. And every time I turn over, I'm like, that's so funny what Holly just talked about.
That's why I can't look at it like you do. I have it on a tab and then I just click on the tab to look at replies and stuff to all of our accounts, but I can't just watch the ticker. I'm so sad for Twitter because I love Twitter, but so much of Twitter lately is just the worst dumpster fires. And ever since Elon Musk started giving weightier weight to the check marks, and the check marks are so stupid. You look under any tweet and the first one is like, well, that's what you get because gays or something stupid. And it's like, who are you? 5 followers that you're paying for? And then you have to actually scroll way down to get to some intelligent conversation.
There's even I just saw an article, I think on Bustle, that was having a blue check mark is now chuggy because it's become so unpopular. Because remember, for years now, that has been the ultimate status symbol of I have a blue check mark on Twitter.
I felt so fucking cool when I got mine.
I know. And besides just feeling oh, cool, we're in a group or whatever, it also prevented people from potentially stealing your identity, not in a horrific way, but people couldn't pretend to be you and then scam your listeners out of money or whatever.
Right.
And that was I think the big reason why they first started the blue check mark. But then it was I'll be first to admit, did I feel I was a little extra cool because I got to be able to have a blue check mark? Yes.
Girl, you couldn't tell me nothing. When I got my blue check mark on Twitter, I was like, girl, look at those people they're looking. They're like, hey.
See, Kelvin, do you feel like a fish? Do you feel like a fish in a bowl?
I want the other door that had nothing. Now I got this glass thing. It's fine.
I like it. I like to see. So obviously, if you're listening, you can't tell, but we got new doors. Because we had temporary doors because they were all on back order, and so the doors for our new studios now have windows, or before they were just solid. And so now you always see people stopping by, and so the sort of little caravan that just came by Kelvin's studio, they came by mine. But long story short, usually when we're on the air, on the radio. There's a button I push and it has a we're on the air symbol that flashes so people don't have to come in here. But when we're doing the podcast, it doesn't turn on. And so a couple of times we're doing the podcast and I'm like, no,
I know.
We're stream. It's I'm live. I'm sorry.
We can't do it right now. We're in the middle of some. Yeah. Anyway, the blue check mark. It's so embarrassing. Because, and I am sorry if you have paid for a blue check mark, and I don't mean to pull the rug out from under you, but sort of there's a certain person generally that went and got the blue check mark, and it's people who thought, because there wasn't, I didn't necessarily notice people with blue check marks getting higher interaction. I certainly never did, like, unless it was actually like a good tweet of mine. It's not like every one of my tweets was pushed to the tops of people's feeds. It wasn't that. And it wasn't that, people put more, or it just didn't do that. Then Elon Musk said it was going to start doing that. And when people that were sort of like the have-nots on the check mark thing, they were like, these people's opinions shouldn't matter more than mine. And I'm like, but that's not why the blue check mark started. It was never that those people's opinions mattered more. It was that this person may be notable in some way, maybe for something. You have to look and dig and figure out why. And it's like the people were like, I deserve to have my opinion matter so much. But then you get their opinions up there and their opinions are garbage. Like, it's oftentimes spewing a lot of hate and negativity and ignorance. And the whole thing has just been made a big mess.
I
That's my
feel like
opinion.
we are in a very scary place when it comes to technology because we have allowed tech to rule so much, all of our lives. Everything we do and touch and control or use is touched by tech. And when you
Yeah.
think about tech and the people who lead tech, it's all a bunch of white men. And if you're a white man watching or listening, there is nothing wrong with you or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, when you have just those few people making decisions for tech, and I've watched documentaries about how, like, there's a reason why when they use facial scanners, how, like, sometimes they don't recognize Black people or people of color because no one on staff is of color. And so no one thought to go, hey, maybe we should program for that.
Right.
Or those little stipulations like that.
Mhm.
And so now that we're getting into the, like, AI world of things, it's like, girl, I don't know where we are going to be, especially in our industry, in you listening, whatever industry you work in, everything's going to be touched by it, from white collar to blue collar. And we just don't know how it's all going to play out. Like,
The deepfakes are insane.
oh my God.
That's the thing I hate the most.
Yeah.
I hate that the most.
That's going to
The
bring
deepfakes.
bullying to a new level.
And it's going to make politics scary. Like, there's actually a bill that was just introduced to try to say that you can't use AI or deep fakes in political ads because, like,
Well, I would hope not.
For anything.
You can make them say anything.
Yeah.
And the problem is, it's almost already too late because, like, the normal person doesn't even necessarily know how widespread deepfakes already are. And so could be very easily fooled and not even know that they could be fooled by that type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, we're at this point now where it's so good that like those images that came out a few weeks ago of Trump running from the cops, like when I first saw it, I was like, what? And then what do I always do? I go to Google and I was like, was Trump arrested? And then there were already like news articles saying these are not real images. This is fake. But like most people would just screenshot it, take it and send it to everybody and be like, girl. And that's for anybody, you know, like it's just, it's getting so scary technology right now that like we're starting to enter into those movies that we watched at the beginning of the 2000s, like Minority Report, about like what is going to be able to happen.
Yeah, I don't like that. That makes me very uncomfortable.
And I feel like maybe this is one of those dark podcasts today.
Oh no, not again. I thought you had something big.
Yeah, you had something fun.
Good.
Remember the dogs?
I did.
We're talking about dogs.
Yeah, let's talk about dogs. But before I get done, I just want to.
we want to talk about a little more doom and gloom before dogs, which also is weirdly a little bit tiny bit doom and gloom, but it's okay.
Okay, you know what? Before we go to the dog conversation, I will say that the one positive thing that we can look forward to, and I was about to tell producer Kelvin this off the air, is that I know that at some point you and your fiance want to buy a house. And Abe and I have been like looking. We're not ready yet. We're going to hopefully in the fall. a lot of the houses that we've been tracking, they're all starting to cut their prices.
Oh.
And so things are starting to come down. And so hopefully this trend will continue.
Yeah.
So there is a bright spot for millennials, Gen Z. If you are in the spot where you've been saving and you're like, well, girl, I don't want to overpay for this house because, you know, you're paying $600,000 for a townhouse that, you know, 3 years ago was worth $300,000. So what's it going to be worth in 5 years? Am I going to lose my ass and be upside down?
Yeah.
It looks like things are starting to come down. So there is a positive note. See, it's not all doom and gloom with me.
Yeah.
All right. So what we were talking about, how did this even come up about the dogs?
Because
You talked about the dog party, but I can't remember.
Oh, no.
Holly's calling you out for becoming a
Yes.
dog advocate
because
now.
Miguel will now proudly be like, well, I mean, I don't really like dogs, but I'm a dog advocate. And he's so like, he acts like this is a normal thing to say.
Right.
Like this is a normal position to take.
Like
and
human
also-
rights
right,
advocate.
like, yes. It's like, I'm all for, you know, the
the right.
helping orphans in
Mhm.
Rwanda. Like I'm a dog advocate. And it's just, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, nope, that's my new thing that I'm saying. Well, because there is this thing right now that has been
Right.
slowly percolating, and I felt this years ago. Like,
Yeah.
because just to catch up to speed, if you are new to the podcast, you know, in the Charlotte fam, it has been documented through the years that I am not a dog person. It comes from a fear of dogs that turned into, when I was a teenager, I was like, I am a grown ass black man. Like, I can't be running from dogs like I do. Like, I mean, if there's a bee, like I look funny because I'm like a big dude. So like, it is kind of funny when there's a bee. I'm like,
I know.
and I will like flip over a table in a restaurant
Yeah.
if there is a bee.
Well,
I've seen
I
it.
saw a comedian say that there's only really like there's three types of people. There's the act calm person, there is the shush it away person, and then there's the flipper outer.
Yes, that is me. Like, I will knock your grandma over. I will knock the server over with the tray. I don't care where I am. If it was at the King's coordination this weekend and there was a bee as he's being coordinated, I'd be like, ah!
Yeah.
I
That's
would
how my
flip
person is
out.
with wasps. And he a big dude too. He tall, and I
Mhm.
see
So is
him
the big
flail
boys.
around with the wasp. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's not gonna bother. Like, I don't want it either by me, but I'm like, it's not gonna bother you. And he's like, it's evil. It's an evil thing sent from hell. I'm
It's
like,
one of
wow.
the worst pains that you will ever go through. Like, I got
A
it when
bee
I was like
sting?
10. Yes. I got one when I was
Ooh.
10, and I'll never forget it.
See, and everyone's always like, well, it's not that bad if you ever
No.
get stung. Because in my mind, since I've never been stung by a bee,
Yeah,
to
same.
me, I feel like it's going to be like being shot. Like, to me, like, that's how painful it feels like it would be, the way
Oof.
that it's been like built up in my head, which is why I freak out all the
Right.
time.
Yeah. So anyway, dogs.
So anyway,
And by the way, before you continue, I
Mhm.
want you to know that I'm with you on this. I just thought it's funny that you've created a position to sidestep it.
well,
So-
like, just to take you through the history of it, like, and so when I became a teenager and I was like, all right, I can't be going to my friend's house and always being like, is there a dog there? Because that was me. I was like, they got a dog. And so I was like, all right, I will pet a dog and be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But then like dogs that are too expressive, like Kelvin and Oscar's dog, Jimbo, like that just, as soon as they start jumping, 6-year-old Miguel comes out and I'm just like,
Yeah.
again. And so I have to like talk myself down. So it's a fear / dislike. And then like, I just don't like dog hair. I don't. And like, and I'm going to say this, and I know this is going to hurt you. This is going to hurt you. This is going to sting you.
But this is the problem, though. Just say it, and then we're going to talk about what the problem is.
I know this is going to hurt some people watching
I
right
understand,
now
but
and
Just
listening.
give it.
But this is why we need to talk about it, for God's sake. I'm with you.
I think it's super tacky when you have dog hair all over you somewhere.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
And
That's not what I thought.
especially
I thought
in
you
a
were just gonna say I
professional-
don't like dogs.
Well, that too. But to me, I feel like so many people that have dogs are like, well, I love my furry pet and I pet them. And I'm like, I get it. And obviously, I'm not saying anything about you as a person. To me, it's sort of like if you walked into a business meeting with wrinkled clothes. I'm like, girl, why didn't you get an iron or dry clean for this professional setting?
Yeah.
So to
get
me,
a lint roller.
Right.
You should have a lint roller right before you leave in your car. Like, that's what I do.
girl, when I lived with Holly and her ex-husband, when they had Nala, I had a lint roller on the little cushion that I sat on the couch. And
Yeah.
every time I sat down, I would lint roll it so I wouldn't have Nala's hair on me every single time.
And she was a poodle mix, so she didn't shed much. I mean, she didn't shed much, but Miguel was still. Yep.
Mhm. So anyway, so I don't like animals. I don't like dogs.
And so what I was hoping you would say was just, I don't like dogs, because there's all these excuses. Well, I'm afraid of them. Well, I had a bad experience when I was little. But some people do not like dogs, and those people are not terrorists.
Right. And people make you feel that way.
Yes.
But I will say, when you told me the first time I'm not into dogs, I did feel a little weird about it. I was like, why? Dogs are incredible. But learning about your story, that really it resonated, because I was like, oh my God, it's rooted in like such an awful and horrific experience. But then the other side of me is like, he doesn't have to fucking explain to anybody. If he doesn't like him, he doesn't like him. So I fall in between both.
Right.
Because
and
I think
so,
it is important. It is important for him to talk about that and how traumatizing his experience was with dogs. If he didn't have that experience, he probably wouldn't feel as harshly as he does about dogs.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Or
I
maybe
also
he
don't
just
think you should
doesn't like
explain
them that
yourself.
much.
Right.
And I think it's something, and I don't have a dog right now, but like, I think a lot of pet owners are in your camp, Kelvin, because it's like a lot of dog owners, when you say when someone says I don't like dogs, it's almost like you take it as a personal insult. And I think more dog owners have to understand it's simply not. This is just a preference that this person has. They just don't like dogs. And it's not saying something like, I said I hate your dog and you're a bad person for liking dogs. It's not, but it feels that way. And I think we just need to have the conversation that the two things can exist at once.
Right.
I didn't take it as offensive. I was just like, oh my God, why? They're pretty awesome. My dog, I will tell you, he is annoying as fuck. Like Jimbo and Miguel in the same place. Like, I was scared for Miguel. I did not feel comfortable myself. I'm still getting to know him, and he's still a puppy, and that's new for me. So that I can understand that dynamic. But if you met my other dog, Benji, he was God's gift to earth, and
Oh my
he was
goodness.
the most calm, sweetest, gentle little pup. And so maybe if I had that kind of dog again, maybe I would feel a little offended because he was the best dog in the world. But I don't feel that way about Jimbo. I feel like Jimbo's just a baby, and babies can be stressful to any human being. So the same thing. And he's an 80-pound dog who wants to play. So I'd never felt offended. I would have maybe if my other dog was still alive.
But you know
maybe.
what? I think because you're still getting to know Jimbo and he's still getting to know you. But I mean, just hearing you, like if I could go back right now and take how you just described your other dog,
Right.
and you could hear the smile in your voice as you said that. And that's how people describe their kids. And so I think when I say to people, I don't like dogs, and then every time they go, but you'll love my dog, it's like they're saying, I know you don't like kids, but you'll love my kids. And so when I go, I've heard that a lot, it's like I'm basically saying, F your uterus, F your sperm, F your offspring, you got crappy kids. And it's like, no. I'm just saying you are not going. Now, let me make a little asterisk to that.
Okay.
Now, there are probably 3 or 4 dogs that I have met that I said, you know what? I could do that. I have a video favorited on my phone right now of one time at the Humane Society in Pinellas County when we lived in St. Pete, where they brought a dog by, and I was like, my heart just like opened up the way I've never felt it open for a dog. And I was like, if I were in a place, I would adopt that dog. I saw a dog actually yesterday on the elevator at my apartment twice during the day.
Mhm.
And the dog was like, I felt like it was me. where like I got on the elevator and like most dogs instantly go, and then they walk over like, and then the owners always, some owners will try to pull them away. Some will sort of like see how you are. But this dog was between homegirl's legs. It looked up at me and was like, "Who you is, bitch?" And I said, "Who you is, bitch?" And the dog looked at me. I looked at them, and then it looked away, and it looked at me, and then it was just like, and it was just wagging its tail. And it wasn't like too hyper. It wasn't too crazy. And then like as soon as the doors opened for their floor, it started trotting towards the elevator. It looked back at me like, "Bye, bitch." And then kept walking on. And I was like, that's a fucking dog I would have right there. All the attitude, understands what's happening. I was like, yes, 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 yes. But I know it's going to take a long time for me to find a dog like that. But until then, I ain't going to like your dog.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. It's hard for people, but I feel like we need to have this conversation because I find myself in the middle of it too. Like, I've had a dog. I did not have a dog growing up. I was nervous when my now ex-husband was my fiance and was like, "We need to get this dog." And I was like, "Okay, I like dogs. They're cute, and I've always wanted one." And then we got Nala, and it was a lot. Nala was
Did you get her as a puppy?
Yes.
Newborn.
Girl.
Newborn. The reason we got the dog at the time was because when my ex had moved in with me, he had a little poodle, and
the pooty poo.
Yes, it was pooty poo. And so I didn't like that dog. I didn't like the dog, and she didn't like me.
I mean, she
did
looked
not
a
like
little
me.
strung out. She looked a little like a crackhead.
She was a crackhead.
They always
She
do.
looked like
She
like
was
her
a
hair was
straight
always
up-
like.
It was. She was a poodle chihuahua mix, and her hair was very fine and wiry, and like she always looked like she was kind of on crack, and she had fleas that he was not taking care of. And I was just like, and she would get real territorial, and I'd be like, "Bitch, I'm not trying to get at him." Like I don't know. I get in arguments with dogs because like. So then he had to get rid of her. So he gave her to this lady that he knew or whatever, and so that was fine. Then we got engaged, and then. We had a house by that point that we were renting instead of an apartment with Miguel, and Pooty Poo had puppies. Pooty Poo had puppies, and he was like, "Please, we have to get this puppy." And oftentimes he got what he wanted. I saw an interesting Facebook thing, memory that I'm like, man, the saying, "Don't have kids with somebody unless you want a miniature version of that person," like. Is so true. Like my daughter, I can see exactly how she's like her dad.
Mm-hmm.
I will save that for another time because the quote is so perfect. I may just share with Miguel because he would get it. But we get the dog because Pooty Poo has had puppies and he needs this puppy. And she's adorable. She really did look like a little Simba or a Nala. And so that's why we named her Nala. And I died. Like I loved her. I loved her. And then I didn't know anything about dogs. And so he's like, I got it. I've had dogs all my life. He, in fact, did not have it. Like, I'm like, she's peeing and pooping all over the house. Like, she's not eating out of a bowl. What is happening? Like, so finally, I was like, I can't live like this. We're up at all hours of the night. So I enrolled her in like a puppy training course, like a 6-week thing, which helped immensely. But what happened was we found out that she was very attached to him and not at all to me. And so he didn't have to go to the puppy training course anymore. I had to go every week to bond with Nala.
Mm-hmm.
And for a month, I had to feed her out of my hand. And I mean, we had a rocky start. I was like, listen here, you. And like, because she was just like not listening to me. She'd be like, F you. I'm a dad. And I was like, it hurt my feelings, to be honest with you. Like, I sound like a dumb idiot, but it hurt my feelings.
Could
so
be like
it was
that.
like a rough relationship. She didn't really like me to begin with. I loved her, but then she didn't like me. So I was like, well, I don't know if I like you. It was
Bleep you, bitch.
anyway. So I've been on both sides of this coin. Like and then I always took care of Nala the rest of her life. I really did. But then also clearly, so I like dogs in that capacity, but I've also never experienced clicking with a dog like that. Like even till one of her dying days, Chris would pull in the yard and she'd hear a truck, and she, no matter how sick she was, would run through the door, right, to go see him. And I'm like, you've been living with me for the last like 6 years now. Who's feeding you? Who's walking you? And I'm like, chopped liver. I get it. But so I've never had that bond with a dog before. And so I'm weirdly in the middle of the fence about it. And to finish off this point, I think what has pushed me almost over into I get really frustrated with other people's dogs because of how socially acceptable it is to bring them everywhere. Like at a nice restaurant, inside. Like there's a Bichon Frise sitting at the table next to me, like lapping out of a water dish, just staring up at me. And I'm like, get out of here with that. Like, this is not the place for a dog. And so that's what bothers me lately is like the places that we take them everywhere. And if you have, you better not say a word about a dog or else you're a terrible human. So that's my story.
With both of my dogs, I have not become comfortable enough to take them everywhere with me. Like Jimbo's too crazy. I would like to eventually train him to take him to like maybe a kid's hospital and like really just lighten up the mood.
That's a lot of training.
It's a lot of training, but eventually I'd like to do that because I know that their breed is really good for that. Yeah. But with my other dog, he was kind of like what Miguel was describing, like, bitch, the fuck you looking at? You're riding your bike next to me? Fuck you. I'm going to bark at you. And I kind of like that. Like, he only liked being with us. And then when people would come over, he would just jump on their lap just for you to rub his belly. Like, that was the only social interaction he was about. But in public, like, could not take him out to restaurants. He would not want anyone near us. And I kind of like that. And so I didn't feel the need where I had to take him everywhere. When Jimbo was a puppy, though, I did take advantage. I bought one of those baby carriage thingies.
Oh no!
Oh my
and
gosh.
it was everything I have ever wanted in my life. And everybody was here for it. Everybody was living for it. I was walking down Target and I was just there tossing him around. Oh, yeah. I love it. I wish he stayed that way.
Yeah.
I guess that's the reason why I came up. Well, two reasons why I came up with Dog Advocate is one, I do really care about animals. Like, I'm not a person like I to the fact where I don't like dogs. I'm like, ugh, they could all die. Like, I appreciate the fact that people love their dogs. I mean, like this comment from Joanne here
exactly.
that says,
I totally get it.
I have a Chug, a Pug Chihuahua mix that constantly entertains me. She filled the gap in my life after my husband and 5 pets died in less than a 2-year period. So like,
oh, God bless you.
I 100% understand that. And you, Joanne, are probably a terrific pet parent. I think why I say a dog advocate or animal advocate is because like, I know right now that like my husband really wants a dog. Like, I know that's the one thing that he would ask for, everything else. Can we please get a dog? But he knows that like, I'm just not there yet. And also we live in a high rise here in Charlotte. And I'm like, you still travel a whole lot, you know, to help out other friends. And I wake up super early. And do you know what's going to piss me off more than anything in this world is having to wake up at 3:15, which I already don't want to do, and then have to go down all these flights in the elevator at 3 o'clock in the morning and then take this dog out and then wait for them and then come back up. And then if you're gone, like some days I could be here till 1 or 2 or maybe 3 o'clock. It's my prerogative, whatever I'm working on. But then I got to wrap up my day to go take care of the dog that I really didn't want.
It's a large responsibility.
It's a huge commitment.
Right. And so that's why I'm like, we are not in the place to do that now. Like if we have a house, we could have a dog door where the dog could go to the backyard, do its business. So it's fine. But you have some people who, just because they love their animals, they get dogs when they're not in a place to do it. And so then you get those stories like during the pandemic where people would get dogs and they'd end up taking them back 3 weeks later because they weren't in a place to feed them, take care of them, to give them the love. And so that's why I say I'm a dog advocate, because I'm like, listen, only get a dog, because I do think that they are like humans, you know, that they do give love and they want your love back. So make sure you're in a spot to do it, and don't do it just because you want it, but you're not ready for it.
So true. I think that's so accurate because, you know, obviously everywhere you look, people are encouraging you to adopt or foster a dog, right?
Right.
But and a sympathetic person can get stuck in or like wrapped into thinking like, oh, I like dogs, I should do it. But can you do it? Like we're tossing around some dog ideas. It's interesting that we're having this talk right now. Because I finally figured out the kind of dog that I would be okay getting. Because Maya wants a dog, my person wants a dog. They're more dog friendly probably than I am, but I think it's because Nala hurt my feelings. Like, and I'm like, I'm scared for the same reason Miguel is. The time and the effort and the commitment and the responsibility, all of that, like I finally have less responsibility on my plate. Do I want to be adding more back on? I don't know. So there's that big thing. And then there's the second big thing, which is what if we get a dog and it again doesn't really like me, or not necessarily like me, but like doesn't give an F. And then I have to be like, I got another thing in this house that's just putting up with me yelling all the time. Like I have to be like, Maya, get in the shower. Maya, get in the shower. And then the dog is going to do the same thing. And I'm just like, I can't. So I'm cautious, but they're looking. It's just that I think, and so I'm like scooching towards it, and I'm like, okay, I've put together a list of things, and I'm like, this will be a very difficult list. There's going to be no dog that matches it. They have to be calm.
Wait, hold on. Let me get mine.
Get the music.
Hold on, here we go. Here's the list of the requirements for Holly's dog.
Yes. They have to be calm, not need a whole lot of extracurricular activity.
Yes.
They have to not shed very much or at all. They have to be slightly hypoallergenic because we've realized that I think Maya has a slight dog allergy. They can't be too small and they can't be too big.
Yes.
And they have to be very easily trainable. That's a
last
lot.
part. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Everything.
But guess what? There is a breed that is that way. And that would be the Golden Doodle.
Oh, yeah.
The Golden Doodle.
Those are super cute.
The Golden Doodle, I've done a lot of research. It matches all of those things, especially depending on how much of which particular breed.
Cute.
So my person got super into this, and there's like a breeder in Central Florida that has for years now bred Labradoodles and Golden Doodles. And like you can get down, but it's expensive. And then I'm like, do we want to be those people that buy a dog?
Oh, how dare you?
And he's like, I don't know if we want to spend that much money on a dog. And I'm like, it's worth. I'm okay. I know what Kelvin did, but like, but I'm also like, I don't want to, and my person's like, we could just get a dog from the Humane Society for like $100. And I'm like, but do we want another knowledge? Because you don't know. You don't know what you're getting. You could be committed to something for the next 15, 16 years on a whim, or is this an investment?
Can you foster a dog?
You could, and then become a foster failure.
Yeah, you could. That's what actually his sister did. And she like loves to say that. And her husband's just like, could we just say we just adopted it? Like, I don't want to call it a failure. But anyway, so we're looking into that. The only issue I have, because I think they're actually super cute and they meet all of the requirements I have. But some of them, their faces look too much like humans.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
It's so weird.
And you know what's bad? My friend has the bigger version of the Golden Doodle, because there's the mini one and then there's the huge.
There's a small, a medium, and a large.
Yes. It's like your height. And they will get into your face.
Yeah, and I don't want
this one got in my face and it felt like a human being on me.
I know.
It annoyed me a lot. So yes,
I have
so
to
I'm
share
saying,
this.
so as we're scrolling, we're laying in bed the other night and he's scrolling. He's like, because they had, even different color. You could choose the color family and all of this. Okay, no, Miguel,
they
that's
don't
not
look
real.
like that.
That's not real. That is someone who, like, you talking about deep face?
It says this puppy with a strangely human face is freaking out.
That's not a Golden Doodle.
That's not a Golden Doodle.
It's not a Golden
Look at this
Doodle.
one. Like, look at that one.
No.
Okay,
that's what my friends
that's
look
what I'm
like.
saying.
Does your dog
He
have
looks at you like he's an elderly man named Bob.
Yes.
If that dog was looking at me at midnight over the bed.
Get that one out of there. That's fake. I believe that's fake. So some of these Golden Doodles look like elderly men named like, I don't know,
Carl.
Samuel, Carl, Phyllis. Phyllis is staring. That one is fake.
No,
I'm
it says
telling you.
this is real. Look, Yogi, a dog with a human. Wait, hold on. Oh, it didn't transfer over. Hold
Okay,
on.
whatever. Then it's real. Then proving my point. But golden doodles have it a lot, especially they look like older ladies, like older white ladies. And it's like, I don't want a dog, especially a big one. And I'm coming in and it's looking at me like it knows. Yes, it's looking at me like it knows my thoughts. And I'm like, I don't want that.
And my friend has one and she loves it. She's obsessed with it.
I know, but I don't want a human dog. So So then I said, there's an even further stipulation with the golden doodle. It must be one that looks like a dog. I cannot have a human dog in my house that knows my thoughts, that's sneaking around silently, plotting my demise.
I'm not mad at that, to be quite honest.
So that's how that's gonna go down. We're gonna have to do all that, probably pay an exorbitant amount of money for a non-human looking golden doodle.
I just don't want them to be on the couch or the bed.
Jimbo's only allowed after a shower. After a shower. Anything other than that, no. And Oscar wants him on the bed all the time, which he does. He does. And I'm not mad at it, but like, because Jimbo is so big, I don't. My other dog, though, Benji, bed all day. Bed all day. We'd watch TV. He really loved watching Catfish for some reason. That was his favorite show, and he would be locked on TV, and we'd watch TV all the time. But he was small and easy to clean, and he would jump into the tub after a walk. Like, he knew immediately after walks, tub time.
That's good.
But not Jimbo. He don't give a
right.
fuck.
So, like, do y'all sleep naked, Kelvin?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Like, okay, because I like
pajamas.
Oh, so like we sleep naked. So like, bitch,
I laid on that bed once.
Butt ass naked.
I can't sleep naked.
Me either. I sweat more.
I do too, and it feels sticky. Like my boob will get stuck to my arm, and I'm like, out of there. No,
it's not for me.
Oh no, girl, I sleep butt ass naked. Everything's just hanging out. Getting all the air,
eggs and sausage every morning,
honey.
Bitch.
All the crevices is getting all the air they need. Yes, honey.
It's the air. It's getting the hot, steamy comforters.
I know.
Air.
All the smells are probably in there. I'm gonna smell them sheets next time.
We do wash our sheets once a week. So
I was gonna say you probably have to wash them very frequently.
Yeah. Well, there are sometimes that you pass gas, and I'm like, I wonder if there are particles that just.
There are. There's particles. There are particles.
Oscar takes off his shirt and he'll be in underwear, but that's as much naked as we get.
No. Oh, I like to sleep naked.
My person will be naked if there's no.
Uh-oh. We lost Holly. Wait, Holly.
Our partner was like, shut up.
Wait, hold on. It says we're connected. I'm going to come back to you. I think the
back.
Oh, wait, but hold on. It's saying it's requesting the call for her. Hold on, Holly. You might have to restart on your end.
Who would ever eat or drink in the bathroom?
Eat or drink in the bathroom?
Yes. Anne Marie wrote, there are absolutely particles. That's why you never eat or drink in the bathroom. Who would eat in the bathroom?
Ooh.
Gross.
You can't. Oh,
there we go.
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yay. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But obviously, if like Maya's there or whatever, he's sleeping with underwear on. But he also, if it were just me and him, and as it is sometimes on some weekends, it'll just be him and me, and he'll be naked, but I'm not. And he wishes I was, but I'm like, I can't do that. I can't. No, thank you. To me, I'm like, that's a lot of things moving around.
That's where I like it. That's why I, whenever people come visit, we have to like lock the door and everything. People just like bust in, or if we're ever like, you
do leave that door open a lot.
Traveling with our friends, and we're like in an Airbnb, and I'm like naked, and I'm like, y'all don't be busting in here unless you don't want to see my booty hole up out.
Naked, you don't put clothes on when you're around other people.
No, I mean, like if we're traveling, like when we go to bed, I will be naked. But like when we're out, like, I do have like clothes that I wear, like nighttime clothes. It's my Hoochie Daddy shorts and my Halloween shirt that's very comfortable. But as soon as I get in that bed, it's all coming off.
Even around there's people in the home and you're still naked?
Yeah. Don't come in my bedroom or you go see my booty hole.
You don't lock the door to your bedroom when you go to sleep? I have to. I don't have doors, but yeah.
Well, because Abe and I go to bed at different times. And so like I go to bed first and I close the door and then he comes in. But then also our apartment, this apartment, and then the last place we lived before we moved here in Largo, like for some reason when you close that door, it like the air doesn't circulate well, and so it gets really warm, and so we have to leave it open, and so we've been doing it since then. But when we lived in our townhouse with Dylan and Scott, we always close and lock the door then.
Gotcha.
But otherwise it just gets too hot, so we leave it open. But when we do travel with people, bitch, I'm be naked. Don't come in unless you want to see my booty hole.
That's
So I'm gonna see your
crazy.
booty hole in Tampa. Knock knock.
Save
Let me see it.
Again, if you want to stay with me, Kelvin, the offer still stands.
That'll be fun.
Yes. So Kelvin and I'll be there like I was last year for St. Pete Pride. Kelvin and Oscar are coming. They're gonna stay with us at our home. But if things get a little too crazy, he's gonna go stay with Holly.
Holly, all his friends haven't fucking left, and this has gone on for like 16 hours.
I mean, okay,
stay
just keep
over?
in mind, like Saturday, the day of the parade, like we wake up, and I don't know if we're hosting a party yet, but we're there, and then we go, and the parades, I think it used to be an hour before sundown, but I think it's a little earlier now. And so, I mean, by the time we get to the parade, you're tipsy, and then we do the parade, and then afterwards we're out at cocktail. And so
It's a whole day. It's like a version of Gasparilla.
yeah,
Bitch, that's what I want.
Mhm.
Like that's what I'm going for.
But
I'm going for the experience.
But see, here's the thing that I'm afraid of is that, we've been here in Charlotte, and in the past like 8 months with our friend group here, we've been doing a lot of after parties. And so I'm just hoping that my ass is tired enough that I don't try to take the after party from Charlotte to St. Pete and to be like, all right, we're done at cocktail. Come over to our house, girl.
No,
Ooh,
you don't need an after
ooh.
party after
Do that train.
Pride.
Do that
Well,
train. Do
when
that
The after
train.
party is cocktail.
Yeah.
But when does your night end? Usually on like the Pride Day, Saturday, for example.
I'm trying to think. It's been different.
Like without the after party, obviously.
Okay, so last year was the first year in almost a decade that I didn't work St. Pete Pride. I was just there as an attendant.
Mhm.
And so after the parade, we were at cocktail. Actually, people came back over. People came back over to the house, but it wasn't late though, because we had been drinking all day. We didn't stay at cocktail because that's why. Because usually the gay bars are packed on Pride, and so I think we were there for like a drink or two, and then we were like, all right, this is a lot, so we just went back to our house. I think we ordered pizza, and then people left like around 1 or 2. So actually, it wasn't super late because you're not out at the bar until they close. So
Got it.
So just be prepared for people to be around.
I'm here for it. Your
Mhm.
friend Ramon was telling me, you better fucking come here. And I was like, all right, I'm coming. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're gonna get Vodka Holly out for that day.
I have to figure out what in the hell I'm gonna do because it's my Maya weekend. and
Well,
I
you
just
know what
don't
we should
know.
do is I need to find
An
out
escape room.
Oh, wait, that's like a Charlotte thing.
That's a Charlotte thing. You're right.
Um
Holly said gay rights. Gay rights that weekend.
I'm gonna find out if my friend Greg is doing his pride party, because that's the only reason why we did it last year. Because he didn't have one. And so if he isn't having it because he's traveling a lot for work, then we'll have another one. And then you can just bring Maya over, sort of like the New Year's Eve, like before
Oh, yeah,
everybody
we did
gets
the New
there.
Year's Eve.
And so we will have like, balloons and stuff like that.
Fine.
Sorry. Holly's like, I want a
I
drink.
can't have drinky drinks really, but I'm hoping to get our girls back on the same weekend because now they're off again. That's perils. But if they're back on the same weekend, I have no problem just leaving her and just coming. But see, then the problem is if I get tipsy, then I have to go home and be and replug into parenting mode tipsy. I can't do that. So I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I had to figure it out.
I know. I always feel so bad on New Year's Eve when you bring Maya over, and I always want to make you a cocktail, and I'm like,
I had a Truly last year. I had like
That's
my
true.
one. And then I'll do like champagne or something. And then after she goes to bed, I'll have more Trulies. I like to model responsible drinking around her. Like, it's not like I don't abstain from drinking around her totally, but I'm always in control, and I'm always like, trying to model responsible drinking so that she sees it from someone, like
smart.
so that she sees it's not all or nothing. It's not like, oh, we never drink, and then she gets to college and turns into me. No, we're modeling like you can drink and also still be in control of your faculties, and people don't have to be wasted.
Right.
I mean, you're going should still at some point be that way, but like I'm hoping that modeling healthy drinking prevents like the over tipping into the binge category, which
And I
is really
think
kind of what happened to me.
having conversations about it helps because I mean, like my church upbringing, I mean, like when I started college, I was like, I will never drink. I will never drink. And then my first boyfriend was like, all right, call me in like 3 years. And then fast forward, I'm at Georgia Southern puking Everclear in someone's bathroom.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm just drunk every weekend my senior year from spring break until I graduated. So
I know. I remember my mom always being like, we're like, I think now, being a mom myself, I know why she did this, but she would always tell me, well, we're not big drinkers in our family, AKA you in this family, which means you are not a drinker in this family. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like the unspoken, like, don't do this. And like, they would have like maybe one glass of wine at Christmas or whatever. But I never really saw drinking. We had liquor in a liquor cabinet at my home that I never saw anybody drink. So I was just like, this isn't a thing. So I was never prepared for like, when I got to college, I was like scared holding my one natty light, like one of the first frat parties I ever went to. And then I just really went over the edge, you know. But and Maya has seen that. So she's seen that side. I just want to model responsible behavior for her too, and saying, you know, drinking is okay. Moderation is great. Obviously, sometimes things get a little wacky, but that shouldn't be the norm, and hopefully give her some grounding. I don't know. So you gotta see it from somebody. It's gotta be me. So that, and so that's why I'm like, maybe I gotta figure something out, because I just want to hang out and have some drinks with all y'all and not feel like the one time that I big time effed up was the big gay brunch day.
Oh,
so I didn't have Maya that morning, and she was coming back. She was supposed to come back home at 5 p.m. And so this was the first time we had been out in public since the pandemic. It was like, you know, our first, we're hosting a thing with listeners. I had such bad social anxiety because I hadn't been around people in like a year and a half or whatever, or a year. I don't even know how long it was. And so I did that thing where I was like, I'm going to need a drink. I'm so nervous. And so I did, and then went down easy. And then I had like 2 or 3 more, because that's my problem is I'm like, I start drinking and I'm like, I want to keep this level of fun going.
Meanwhile,
Miguel and Abe had to drive me home.
Yeah. I had to drive Holly home, and Abe had to drive Holly's car back to her house.
I was so embarrassed.
That's a true friend.
That is a true friend.
True friend.
But they dumped me off back at home in the nicest way.
We pushed her out of my cars, and we gotta move, bitch.
Tuck and roll, bitch.
Yeah, and I did.
And she rolled.
And I think it was probably about. Yeah, I think I did. And you know, you're drunk, so it doesn't really matter. You just bounce on off things. And it was probably like 2:00, and then I get a text from Maya's dad, and he's like, "We're on the way," and I was like, "Oh no." I don't ever want that to happen again, because that was not like, my mom was actually still living at the house, so she was home, but she was upstairs. And you know, I couldn't just be like, go upstairs and hang out, because Maya wanted to see me after the weekend. It was just, I slapped myself around, chugged a lot of water. Actually, think I made myself a coffee. But it was not a proud parenting moment, and I highly 10/10 do not recommend. Luckily, obviously, we're just sitting in the house, and we ended up watching, I think, like some movie that she had really wanted to watch. So she was really compelled with this movie for like the next 2 hours. But I was like, in that moment, I'm like, I will never do this again. We'll never do this.
Like, I just that's like a movie. Mom, we're gonna make you a grilled cheese sandwich, girl.
Like, I think it was because this was several years ago.
Yeah, it was 2021. Yeah.
And so it was, I think, Nightmare Before Christmas. And I had always been like, no, it's a little creepy still. And this must have been the day. She's like, Mom, can we watch it? I was like, yeah.
It's fine.
Really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to lay on the couch. Mom's just going to lay on the couch. If you get nervous, just tell me.
Mama, go order a pizza tonight, girl.
While Miguel is like,
yeah. Like, I feel like someone's gonna arrest me for me telling this story publicly. Like, it's a shameful moment.
Girl,
I'm joking through
you were
but
home.
Like, I don't know, but no, I don't. None of you're all parents. Like, I just feel very ashamed. But
the amount of times
honest.
that I've never seen my mom. Well, as an adult, I've seen her drunk, but I mean, growing up, when they would have the like, because my mom and all of my uncles and aunts were all in their 20s still, so
yeah,
I
they were
have like a
young.
slight memory of them being at my great uncle's house in like outside of downtown Atlanta. They were like playing dominoes and drinking the old the 40s and the paper bags and slamming down the dominoes, and people probably smoking weed, and we're all like playing outside at 11 o'clock at night in Atlanta,
God,
like
oh
in the
my
late
God,
80s,
oh my
early
God.
90s. So like, girl, you fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
I grew up
Okay.
with my dad. Like, yeah, I didn't understand casual drinking. And I just
Right.
like, I'd go to a sports bar. My dad would get a pitcher, drink it to the face. And
Yeah.
sometimes he'd do 2. And it'd be me and my mom being like, is he fucking done? Is he done? And then he'd get wasted. And then we'd go home. Like, that was like fun for him.
Yeah,
so for
it's not
me-
fun for you.
At all. And so that's what I have gathered from drinking, was that's all I ever knew, was just get plastered.
Right.
And he was never violent or anything like that. He would get loud and obnoxious, and it was funny as a kid, but then growing up, I'm like, oh, that's like the only thing you ever did with drinking. You never had crafty cocktails or mimosas or none of that stuff.
And
so
people drink for different reasons. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why I just want to model like, hey, it's okay, and you can have like 1 or 2 and still have it like a easy evening and be good.
I just
And then go to bed and I
remember
have a couple more. It's okay.
be like, girl, now the real party starts. I just remember being at church growing up, and they used to always be like, if you go to a bar, Jesus won't go inside. He'll stay outside waiting for you. So
The
you shouldn't go to the dance
manipulation.
hall.
That's so weird about our 2 religions.
Mhm.
Quickly, because they both really love the guilt and the shame and the
Girl.
manipulation, but yours let that carry through to drinking and stuff, like, because
Mhm.
Jesus hates all of it, obviously.
To everything.
Not with Catholics. Catholics are like, all that stuff you just said, except getting drunk is fine.
Right, that's fine.
We're gonna host a beer garden in the church parking lot. We're gonna have Why Not Wednesday with the Mom's Bible group. Like, not just kidding, not that, but like,
Right.
Catholics are okay with drinking. Like, they are okay
From
with it.
water to wine, baby.
No drinking, no pork, no meat, no makeup, no jewelry. Friday night to Saturday night, no electronics, no spending money.
It's intense.
And then
Girl.
like, and I'm sure I've said this before, but like when we were all teens and going through, like, here are the decisions you're going to be faced with. And the one I've put out here for years that has always stuck with me, they would be like, when you marry your partner one day, you give them your virginity, which is like a whole cake. Do you want to give them an empty platter because everyone's had your cake? Or do you want to give them a full cake? So literally, like, the first like 3 guys I was ever with, I was always like, they took a piece of my cake. I only had like 1 slice left when I got with Abe.
I mean, with crumbs, Miguel. Come on, want a damn
you had
slice.
crumbs right
I
now,
ain't got
huh?
no damn slice.
You ain't got
I
that
ain't
much.
got no crumbs.
Oh, man.
No, Abe got the icing that's on the cake topper. That's it.
Bitch, he got the
Ain't
little
no cake left.
the
It
little
was
fucking
accidental.
light. You got the candle, but it was burned already.
Yes.
That's all he got.
Well, we have run the gamut today.
I love
We
it.
sure have.
Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for listening.
I don't even know what to call. I'm gonna call this like
Miguel's
dog
cake.
with a human face. I think that's what I'm calling this.
Producer Kelvin, what's all of your information?
At TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, at Kelvin Live, and you can follow me on PlayStation as well as Bussy Killer.
Where's that cake sitting for you, bitch?
Girl, in the fridge, hot and ready.
Mhm.
Holly, how's your cake looking today?
My cake. You don't worry about my cake. We're not talking about Holly's cake. Get out of here. That's rude. All right. Radio Holly on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You don't worry about
Wait,
it. You worry
y'all
about your
can
own
throw
cake.
my cake in the trash, but we can't talk about your cake.
No, my cake. I keep my cake private. my cake is a private cake.
It's still in Publix in the bakery section. You can follow me everywhere at Miguel Fuller. Make sure to leave us a rating and a review, and we will see you all Friday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it